Okay, let's go over a bit of what we discussed yesterday. Put the wrong part up. There we go. All right, so this portion of the song, a little more volume. Um, so what's going on here theory-wise, talked about is really looking at all the notes, at least here through here. Everything fits in the E whole half diminished scale. So basically, when you start on an E, you go up a whole step, then a half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So it's based around that. So, just messing around with your own thing, and if you want it to be somewhat same style as that part of the song, that riff, using those octaves is a great idea. And I do want to point out this part here. So yeah, that's not in the whole half diminished scale, or the E whole half diminished scale. Let's see, gotta try and visualize this here. So yeah, that B note there, that's not part of it. And that D note there, that's not part of it either. However, it is in the E natural minor. So there are similar, the E whole half diminished as well as the E natural minor, because both have the E, F sharp, G, and A. They also both have a C notes. So that would be it. The E, F sharp, G, A, and C. Yeah, when they're going down that third idea, some of the notes are not part of the whole half diminished scale. But, that's a thing you can do, is you go between some stuff, like what they did there. You can play something in the half whole diminished and then go to the natural minor. So yeah, I was just focusing on the idea of playing in that shape. I'm just visualizing whole steps and half steps and just kind of going up and down that visualization. Nope. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, you can fiddle around with that idea. And then when we got to, oh, I forgot to put a chord name there. And I guess because of what we're going into, I need to put that as B flat 5. So then looking at the note structure for the next riff, I've basically looking at it as that G Dorian blues scale hybrid. So I'm going to bring up looks like I forgot to bring it up to begin with. Well, I'm going to bring up the scale stuff that I sent over. But yeah, with all those notes involved, kind of figure out, like, it's those notes right there work in that little hybrid scale. So as far as like working with that, you need to kind of see how those notes are laid out on the low E string there, because they're playing all that stuff on the low E string. Did I put that in the let me bring up that scale thing now. There it is. Okay. Part of it there. Okay, let's see. I want to bring up left. Okay, and then we need to hold on. Reset. All right, let's go to the top here. Or let's just look at this part. So yeah, this does show a good amount on that low E string. So also up to that C5 works as well. And then the C, D flat, D. They got that chromatic part right there. Probably should have added that to it. But basically I'm thinking of like right here you got the C, D flat, and D. So that would be like the 8, 9, and 10 as well. I don't like that color. Oh, whatever. 8, 9, and 10. That looks terrible. Oh my god. I should just fix the scale thing. Maybe I'll do, yeah. Now I'm thinking, damn, should I start this video over? But we're already so far into it. All right, real quick here. Let me just do this. You can watch me do it. Feel free to fast forward. Editor, no, diagrams. My profile. Good lord. Come on. And then the most recent thing. Where you at? There. Okay. And we're gonna add in the C. Yep, that works. There and boom. Okay. So save that. Update. And then download. All right, so this is what I'll send over to you. I know that I did that. Copy that. Go back to you. Paste. And open with Paint. Okay. Now we're all set up. Boy, that's all kinds of professional on me, isn't it? God damn it, sorry. So yeah, all those little dots on the low E string, you could put your power chord in there to have it very similar to what the riff is. Nope, not that note. But anyway, yeah, you can just riff around on that stuff. So the scale stuff, though, just so you can have more of an idea, like, well, how am I thinking about this, and how might you think about it? So again, we had those notes in the riff. The E, G, A, all that stuff. And I was just thinking, like, okay, well, how might we put this all in like a scale thing? And what I was doing, I just started with the E because that's the lowest note, and then G, and then I saw A would be the next note in order, B flat, and then the C, D flat or C sharp, and then the D note, and then right there, I was like, okay, well, wait a minute, we got the E, the G, the B flat, we play the B flat here, and we have those three notes in a row. That tells me, oh, that's based off of the blues scale. But then that E note in there, which is not part of the blues scale, that is part of Dorian, the G Dorian. It's like, okay, having like a hybrid one, like you have like the blues scale as well as the G Dorian mode, that actually does work. So the only note that's not shown here in that riff is the F. But, G minor pentatonic is in the key of F major. And G Dorian, with that E note in there, well, that is in the key of F major as well. So G minor pentatonic is, and of course, G Dorian is. So obviously, G minor pentatonic is also in the key of G minor. Any key that has a G minor chord, a G minor pentatonic can be found. So just because it's a G minor pentatonic doesn't mean, yeah, that's totally in the key of F. Like, it can be. But with that E note involved, it's like, all right, well, now that makes it even more specific, because now it's definitely G Dorian. And then you got the blues note stuff in there. So the only note missing is that F note, which is like the parent key. This is how I look at it. So we just throw that in there, and it ties into the G minor pentatonic anyway, which is going to be part of the G minor blues scale as well. So back to yep, that one. Hold on. So yeah, starting at the top there, your standard G minor pentatonic. And then we add in that blues note. That guy right there, the C sharp or the D flat. And then we have the G Dorian shape right here. And we combine them, the G Dorian and G minor blues scale, and we get that. Of course, we can look at this as well. Yeah, we do have 4 notes on one of those strings on the G string. And then the bottom one there is just to help, with more riffage, more riffing. So I did find a G Dorian backing track. It seems fairly easy to play on top of. I'll send you the link for it. It's not metal at all, but it still works well for just improvising using this scale. Oh, it's not starting. I thought I started it. Just waiting for the drums to kick in here. So like you can start by using that G minor pentatonic on top of it. Stepped out of this shape. Whoops. See, that's just all staying in, just the minor pentatonic there. And so, you know, usually when you're trying to play a mode type thing, you have to make sure you hit the unique interval involved. In this case, it'd be that E note. However, because the chords are there, it's going to sound Dorian anyway. So all you got to do is play in that minor pentatonic, and it will sound G Dorian because of the chord progression. Now we'll throw in the blues note. And it's just something that you kind of like sprinkle in here and there to add, call it flavor. And now, the G Dorian shape. And now combine the blues scale along with the G Dorian. Anyway. So there we go. Something you can have fun with. And I think that covers it. All right. Any questions come up, let me know, and I'll see you again next week.